Our dark story today involves a night manager of a neighborhood hardware store who finds a man lying face down in a pool of blood. The man had been shot in the head. The story takes a shocking twist that involves international intrigue and state-sponsored assassins. It was 10:15, I was exhausted, and ready to head home. I had to wait for the cleaning crew to leave, then I locked the main entry door. They had just finished cleaning the office and mopping the sales floor. I was about to make my final walk-through of the store, when I heard a loud bang. I decided to walk to the back of the store to investigate. There, in the middle of the aisle, was a man lying face down in a pool of blood. I immediately called 911. I told the operator the gruesome scene that laid before me. She asked me to check to see if he was breathing. I turned him over, and saw a dime-size hole in his forehead. I checked for a pulse on his neck, then I put my ear on his chest, to see if I could hear a heartbeat. As I suspected, there were no signs of life. I put my phone on speaker. She asked if I knew CPR. I told her yes, then I began chest compressions. As I began pressing on this man's chest, I knew this was an effort in futility, however I felt compelled to continue. The front doors were locked, however the back door was about 15 feet away. I informed the operator of the situation and told her that I was going to have to stop and rush to open the back door and prop it open with a push broom. To my surprise, the back door was unlocked. After a few minutes of chest compressions, I began to tire and sweat profusely. A few seconds later, the distinctive sound of a police siren could be heard just outside the rear exit. Police and EMTs rushed in and I was finally relieved. Paramedics tried to revive this guy for 5 minutes, but to no avail. Judging from the blood loss and hole in his head, this poor bastard was dead before he hit the floor. The police questioned me for hours. They continually asked me to give an account of what happened. I guess they were testing me to see if I was telling the truth. They asked to see the CCTV video, however the camera pointing in the direction of the incident was inoperable. They inspected the video from 8 interior and 4 exterior cameras. The security video showed the victim entered through the back door, followed by an unidentified male. 30 seconds later, the male subject exited the building. After overhearing a phone conversation from a detective, I learned that besides 2 sets of footprints, no other evidence was found. I also heard them say that they found nothing on his body that could identify him. No wallet, driver's license, credit cards, not even a cell phone. The police were baffled. Several weeks after this bizarre incident, I tried to settle back into my daily routine, however I couldn't stop thinking about what happened that night. Several days later I was home, relaxing on the couch, watching TV, enjoying my day off. The 12 o'clock news had just started. To my surprise they had information on the murder. The police reported that the victim had no DNA on file anywhere in the country. They also stated that the autopsy revealed that the hole in his head was caused by a 5.7mm bullet. A police spokesman said this caliber was not in wide use, and could aid in the investigation. Every time I pass down that aisle, I think about what happened that day. I have difficulty sleeping most nights. I just can't seem to let it go. The police have released a sketch of the man, hoping someone will recognize him. His identity is still unknown. If you enjoy true crime, dark, strange and mysterious stories, you've come to the right place. We upload at least once a week. Please like and subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications, so you'll never miss new content. Several months had passed since that terrible night. I had finally returned to my daily routine. It was Friday evening around 5:30. I was helping a customer with a PVC adapter, when I was approached by two detectives. The three of us stepped into my office, and I shut the door. I certainly didn't need anyone eavesdropping. I offered them something to drink, they both declined. They asked me if I owned a pistol. I told them that I made it perfectly clear, on the night of the murder, that I have never owned a firearm. They said that during their investigation they found an application with my signature for the purchase of a 5.7 pistol. They stated they had CCTV video of me purchasing the gun. They also showed me a warrant, allowing them to search my office. I was in shock. I couldn't believe this was happening. They spent about 20 minutes tearing my office apart, however they found nothing to suggest I played any part in the murder. I asked to see a copy of the application that I supposedly signed. They said they had it in their car as well as the security video. At that moment my cell phone rang. It was the homicide detective in charge of the case. He said they had identified the victim. His name was Misha Yurikov, a Russian agent, who had recently stolen high-level government intelligence. He said the information this guy had stolen was extremely sensitive, and to be aware of anything unusual that may happen at home, or around the store. I knew at that moment that these guys weren't cops, and if I were to walk out to their car with them, my life was over. I told the detective, "Thank you," and hung up. I tried not to act suspicious, so I said I had to use the restroom. Little did they know, there was an adjoining door in the bathroom that led into the warehouse. I made my way to the restroom and locked the door. I then entered the warehouse and immediately called the detective I had just spoken to. I told him what had just occurred. He asked me if there was any way I could get to my car without being seen. Normally I park my car in back of the store by the rear exit, however on this day I parked in the customer lot in front. I knew if I tried to make to my car I might be seen, which could cause a hostage situation. The detective called and said he was 30 seconds away. I told him to meet me by the rear exit. I kept thinking about the employees and customers in the store. I made my way to the back of the store just in time to meet the police. The detective said more marked units were on the way. The plan was to take a position in the parking lot and wait until they attempt to drive away, then we move in and surround them. My phone rang. It was an employee in the store. She said one of the men kicked the bathroom door open and was trying to force his way into the warehouse. I asked her if she knew where the other man was. She said she didn't know. She told me the customers were leaving the store in a panic. I told her to run to the rear exit and activate the fire alarm. I said there is a police car just outside the door, and I would be waiting for her. About 10 seconds later I heard the alarm and saw her rush out to the building. I put her in the back seat and assured her she was safe. At that moment I overheard a voice on the detective's radio say that the two suspects were apprehended while trying to escape the parking lot. This ordeal was finally over, however my heart was still beating a mile a minute. We drove to the front of the store. I identified the men they had in custody. It turns out these were paid assassins, hired by the Russian government to recover the stolen information, and eliminate anyone who stood in their way. It goes without saying that this was a huge news story. I was interviewed by every local news channel. I was even invited to appear on several national talk shows, however I declined. As far as I know, the stolen information was never recovered. I just wanted to put this behind me, and get back to my uneventful life of a night manager, of a neighborhood hardware store. However, something tells me, this won't happen, anytime too soon.